Today I'm going to be doing a little bit different style video here because today is another day where it's just blasting wind outside. It's 25-mile-an-hour winds, it's raining, it's cloudy, it's really crappy. If I were to try to make one of those beautiful outdoor videos for you, you guys would probably stop watching this channel because it would turn out terrible. But instead, I decided to do something a little bit different. A couple weeks ago, I went on this website called Cara.com. If you've never heard of it, it's an online forum website where people can just go on there and ask any question they want, and people can come out and answer them accordingly if they feel like they have a good answer for it. So the question that I ended up asking on there was, what are some of the top questions you would have if you were moving to Florida? And I just did this out of like curiosity, wondering what strangers on the internet would be wondering about that. I have plenty of ideas of my own about different Florida videos to make, but I just wanted to see what random strangers would have to say about this and what some of their top questions and concerns might be. And then, once I started getting some answers, I had some mixed results. I had some people that answered the questions and some really in detail, which you'll see here in just a minute, and other ones, they just hate Florida. So we're going to kind of cover both. I'm going to give you the perspective of people that just hate Florida. They have just terrible things to say about it. And other ones, they have some pretty good questions. So let's jump into this and let's see what people have to say. Okay, so the first one goes like this from Mrs. L. Hayes. She is a self-proclaimed aged hippie, activist, and master gardener of cannabis. Let's see what she has to say about Florida. She goes, "My top question would be, why the hell would I want to move to Florida? I'm fair-skinned and have 4 incidents of skin cancer. Tanning is not my thing. I hate golf and can't play tennis. Humidity is not anything I want to be accustomed to. I've been in Florida for the start and end of cruises and go to Disneyland. I can both cruise and go to Disneyland a lot closer should I want to without the humidity. My family all live within a few days' drive of me now. If I lived in Florida, I would never see anyone. Not to mention alligators, hurricanes, large spiders, snakes, and other creepy crawlies I don't have now. Healthcare is abysmal, it appears. It all comes down to no, nada, don't wanna, ain't gonna. The only positive is Jimmy Buffett." I mean, man, could you get any more grumpy about it? Like, my question was, what are some of your top questions you have about moving to Florida? Not why you hate it so much, but clearly this lady has pretty much every answer in the book of why she hates Florida. Some of these things I could agree with as far as the humidity. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I don't really like the humidity either. But you don't have to play golf and tennis, and Disney World's pretty awesome, even as an adult, if you want to go there. And, the alligators and hurricanes and spiders and snakes, yeah, sure, we have that stuff here in Florida, but it's not like this is going to affect your daily life. Maybe if you live in the middle of the Everglades in some kind of campground, but living in a regular place in Florida, I don't think this is going to be an issue for you. Okay, who's next? Cara Carden. She said she actually lived in Florida from 2014 to 2020, so she was here for 6 years. Having lived in Florida, I would assume that one question would be regarding where the greatest concentrations of snowboards are, so I could avoid them. They are typically the worst drivers. I would sort of agree with that one. When people come here from out of town, they seem like they're extremely lost and it screws up the flow of traffic big time. So I guess I'm on board with that one. My next question would be regarding what towns, cities have the lowest crime rates. Okay, that's a legitimate question. Following those, I would want to know where the lowest property taxes are. Okay, also legit. As well, I want to know the lows for the temps throughout the year to determine how many layers I wanted to wear during the winter. And I did cover that in one of my other videos about Florida, which you can check out right here in case you missed that one. I did cover, where you might want to live in Florida depending on your level of heat tolerance and things like that. The multiple times I've lived in Florida, I honestly leapt before I looked. Would I do it again? You bet. Florida feels like home. It surely beats the BS that is Illinois. So maybe she's from Illinois too. And I didn't curse right there because I don't want YouTube to demonetize this video. But you can see what she said. So this one actually was pretty positive, and I had this video idea for a while and I kind of forgot what people said. and I figured it would be fun to just do it impromptu with you here, reading out the answers and showing you what everybody said, because I remember reading some of them and thinking how funny they were. So let's see what everybody else has to say. Roy Berry, former jack of all trades. I don't know what he does now. Apparently he just writes stuff on Quora.com. Are the gnats gone yet? Is it true the mosquito is the state bird? Do they still carry off small teacup animals like raptors when in groups? Is it true politicians have never been attacked by alligators because they don't like that taste in their mouth? Disclosure, I've lived in Florida before. Clearly he's just trying to make something funny here and give people a laugh. That's fine. You know, I don't have no problem with that. I'm a very open guy when it comes to having a sense of humor and stuff like that. I'll laugh at just about anything. I love watching stand-up comedy, and I'll laugh at anything. I don't care how sensitive the joke is, you know. If it's funny, it's funny. Now this seems to be like a guy who might have actually answered the question that I asked, which was, what are some of your top questions that you have about moving to Florida? This is from Mr. Sean Joseph, former environmental history professor at Rollins College from 1984 to 2016. Sounds pretty prestigious. Okay, he goes, here are the baker's dirty dozen. And he even put in pictures and everything here. He really went all out to reply to this post. I'm pretty impressed. First, does the place I will live in flood? Very good question, and you definitely do want to check that if you are moving to Florida, because some places flood a lot worse than others, and this would be actually one of my number one concerns too if I were to move to a new neighborhood, knowing how much things flood here in Miami Beach when we just get a couple inches of rain. Second, is my new residence on sewer or septic systems? Well, I guess the only reason you would probably want to know that is because you want to know if you're going to have to get your septic pumped on a regular basis, and also that's definitely going to affect how much your water, sewer, and trash bill comes out to be, because if you're on a septic system here in Florida, then you're not going to have to pay nearly as much because you probably also have a well system for your water, and you might not even have a water or waste bill. So that will save you some money, actually. That's a good point. Third, what is the water quality of my drinking water sources? Now, at least this is something I have to say in Florida's favor. They do put out an annual water report in every town here, so you can get that in the mail. I think they mail it to us every year. And they give you all the water quality samples and what's going on with that, so you get a pretty good idea. I'm sure that information is available online. I'm not a scientist. I'm not even sure how to read that. It's pretty confusing stuff, but yeah, that's a legitimate concern too. So far, no comedy in this one. Fourth, when was the roof last upgraded once you determine how many days of rain to which your new place is subject? I guess he's probably worried about the roof leaking if there's going to be a lot of rain, which we do get here in Florida. Also legitimate concern. But if you're buying a house, you're going to know that before you even buy the house. And if you're living in a condo, unless you're on the top floor, it's probably not even a concern for you here. Fifth, and I've seen people ask about this in the comments. This is kind of a funny one. How far away are alligators from your pool? That's a tough one, because I would say, even though this is Florida, like here in Miami Beach, for example, I've never ever seen an alligator. Does that mean they're not here? Not necessarily, but alligators need fresh water to survive, and there was one time where they spotted a saltwater crocodile in Biscayne Bay here, which was actually pretty scary because those are very dangerous animals. They're aggressive and they'll kill just about anything, including people. So that was a scary thing, but that's the only time I've ever seen that happen. But if you're in Central Florida, there's a lot of little freshwater ponds and things like that around, and that's where alligators love to hang out. And if you have a house with a pool in one of those areas, you definitely want to make sure every time before you get in the pool that there's not a gator inside, because I guess that could happen. You know, a lot of those pools also have like those big screen-in porches. I'm sure you've seen that when you're looking at houses online and stuff, or if you've been here to Florida. So the odds of an alligator getting in a pool like that are probably pretty low. But if you don't have any protection around your pool, yeah, I would be checking every single time. Sixth, do you have air conditioning? Once you determine how often the electricity goes off, I don't know why he would think that's a concern. I mean, we hardly ever lose power here. That's never really a concern, I would ever say. I mean, we lose power in really bad weather, but that happens everywhere. So, not really a concern. Seventh, is your place more prone to tornadoes, lightning storms, hurricanes, or high winds? that's a legitimate concern. I've never seen a tornado down here in South Florida. I know there have been other areas in Florida that have been hit with tornadoes, but it's not like places in the Midwest and things like that where they really get hit with some strong tornadoes. I've never seen anything like that. Lightning, we do have a lot of lightning here in Florida. This is one of the most lightning prone states, and lightning is very dangerous. So if you're outside and you see lightning, it's best to just go inside because it can kill you. Hurricanes, I've touched on this in many of my other videos. The further south you are down in Florida, in my opinion, the more vulnerable you are to a hurricane because of the fact that, you're just way down at the bottom of the state, and if you need to evacuate, getting out of Florida is a real pain because you have to drive. There's nowhere else to go besides north. Some people go west, but to give you a perfect example, last time there was a hurricane here, which was Hurricane Irma in 2017, a bunch of people fled to the west coast of Florida, and guess what? The hurricane changed directions, and it actually swept the entire west coast of Florida going up north, and swept that whole side of the state going straight up. So anybody that evacuated the east coast and fled to the west coast actually had it worse off. So going from east to west usually is not a very good evacuation plan. I think the only way to really get away from the storm is to go complete opposite direction that the storm is going, which would be north. And there's only one way out of Florida, and that's north. So the closer you are to the top of Florida, the easier it's going to be to avoid a hurricane. Okay, what else? Man, this guy's got a lot of stuff to say. He's got lots of questions. Where is the nearest hospital, and does it have electricity during hurricanes? As far as I know, all of the hospitals here have their own generator systems, so if the power does go out, they can last a few days on their own power supply, but usually it's just about that, a few days. And hospitals, unless you're living in a very rural area in Florida, you're probably going to have a hospital within about 20 minutes of where you live. Ninth, why can't I buy liquor in the grocery stores? I have no idea why he's asking that because that's totally not true. That's where I buy my beer and wine. I buy it in the grocery store. All the grocery stores sell it. Simply a myth, not true. How large are the palmetto bugs, and should I consult a pest control service? Actually, I wouldn't even be worried about the palmetto bugs. I know they're kind of big and ugly, but I would be much more worried about the small little German roaches. Those are much harder to get rid of if you get those here, and you definitely need pest control to get rid of them. Palmetto bugs, yeah, you can hire pest control, but they're not that hard to get rid of on your own. I really wouldn't worry about that too much. How distant is the nearest hiking or canoe trail? Very legitimate. Usually anywhere you live here in Florida, I would say that you're going to be pretty close to one of those things because this whole state is surrounded by water. There's plenty of lakes and ponds everywhere. Hiking trails, we have those in all of the parks, so you're probably going to be pretty close to that no matter where you live in Florida. Where is the nearest Y or gym since it rains nearly every day from June until November, especially on the days you want to hike? That is a legitimate concern, and that's why I'm in here making this video for you guys. I would love to be outside shooting in one of these beautiful backgrounds, but I just can't do it when it looks like this outside. And plus that wind, if I tried to talk to you during this wind, all you would hear is that's it. So yeah, not worth it. So where is the nearest gym and why? Yeah, you definitely want to figure that out before you pick a spot to move. I personally like going to the gym that I have here in Miami Beach. It's literally 5 minutes walking distance from my house. Can't go there now, but I'm looking forward to going back once it opens back up. Man, this guy has a lot of stuff here. Do you have southern exposure, or is the property shaded and well ventilated? Why would this matter? Well, I guess he's probably worried about how hot it can get in the house because, for example, my place here on the ocean faces south. So we do get southern exposure here. So supposedly we get more sunlight all year round. Because if you live on the northern side of this building, you actually never get any sunlight on your unit ever. And the reason for that is because in the summertime, like now, the sun is further to the north. It actually moves in the sky. It's actually further to the north. And if you look at the sun in the wintertime, it actually shifts quite a bit more to the southern sky. And the sun will actually come right onto our balcony here. But it's not a problem because in the wintertime it's cooler in Florida. So whenever we do get direct sunlight on the balcony here, it's actually not so hot outside. And we get that relief in the summertime because it's more towards the north and we don't get any sunlight at all, and the temperatures are higher, so it kind of works out. So I don't think that's a very big concern, and that's what air conditioning's for. You're gonna need your air conditioning no matter what if you live in Florida, so I really wouldn't worry about that one much. How much are the taxes? How good are the schools? How bad is the crime rate? I think you already said that. And how well lit are the neighborhood streets? Yeah, okay, whatever. You know, you're gonna know that within just a day of driving through the neighborhood. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The taxes, you know, you can see that on the listing when you're looking at your listing online before you ever buy a house. Not that big of a deal. My mother used to ask, does the neighborhood have sidewalks? But I suggest, is there a botanical garden nearby? I don't know what he meant by that. Whatever, people are weird. Okay, here's another one from Stephanie Vardavas. And all she says is, I hate humidity. Why would anyone do that? How do you endure the summers? How crazy are your neighbors? Do you enjoy hurricanes? Do you really hate taxes and love guns that much? Some of these things that people say are just so hateful, right? I mean, who loves hurricanes? Nobody loves hurricanes. But you know what? In the 12 years I've been living here in Florida, they've only called a mandatory evacuation order once where I live. So hurricanes are an issue every single year here, but the odds of it hitting directly where you live are pretty low. How do you endure the summers? I kind of covered that in another video, like how long does summer last in Florida? That was the name of that video. If you want to check it out, I'll put a link for it right here. But yeah, that's a tough thing to make it through, I guess, you know? It's like, it's all perspective, guys. If you're coming from the north like I did, and you're tired of the 6 months of cold winter, you deal with the 6 months of summer, because that's the trade-off. Is it ideal? No, it's not. But it's better than freezing your ass off for 6 months out of the year and just being stuck in the house. I mean, I hated that. And I'll take the hot, humid summers here with the rain any day over that, because at least I can still get outside. It's not like that every day, and we still have the beach here. There's plenty of cool things to do. I'll take it. I hope you guys got some enjoyment out of this. I know I certainly did. I saw a lot of questions on there I wasn't expected to see, and it was also interesting to see how much some people just hate Florida, because I guess there's just bitter people out there in the world, and they got nothing better to do besides write a bunch of crap on the internet that no one's probably ever going to read besides me. And guess what? I know something about you. I know that if you made it to this point in this video, then there is a really good chance that you are probably going to want to keep on hanging out with me and start watching some more of my videos right over here, because I got plenty more where that came from. I'll see you guys over there in that next video.